You will. Good morning. Welcome to another episode of SJU on Fandom. Happy Thursday. We are bringing you a lot of great stuff. We're going to talk about some Jared Leto Joker feelings. He has a bunch of them, it sounds like. We're going to talk about some He-Man. Know you're excited for that, Dan.
I did not know we were going to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Shirt today. Yeah.
We're going to get some sweet, sweet Masked Singer business, and we're going to check in with Dan on his Halloween playlist check-in. Thank you all so much for joining us. We've got me, we've got Joe, we've got Spenny, we have got Dan. Good morning. First story, Joker on
Come
Joker.
down the pipe.
That was very intense.
Get ready.
Yeah.
Some Joker-free brain hole.
News. So a report about Martin Scorsese's potential involvement in Todd Phillips' Joker also included a confirmation that developing a second Joker movie irked then Joker Jared Leto. How many times can I say Joker today? We gonna find out, crew. So what it sounds like is, and this was something we had spoken about, Scorsese was initially involved as a producer, and then he did not. And there were rumors that he might be directing it. And
So that's why he thinks comic book movies aren't high art.
Yeah, maybe.
He's scorned.
Yeah, once bitten.
Scorned says he.
Oh, that is a good one.
Interesting.
Very, very good. And so it sounds like a source close to Scorsese says he told The Hollywood Reporter he originally eyed Joker as a potential directing vehicle before Phillips approached the studio with his own take on the nihilistic villain. So yeah, well, he came to the dance, and then Todd Phillips
Took his girl.
Took his girl.
Oof.
But also, and there's reports that, Jared Leto is really, was not happy. Obviously, it would be kind of weird if you were the Joker and then all of a sudden someone's like, hey, Scorsese's going to do the Joker. If it's like, but I'm the Joker. I'm
Mr. Sparkle.
me Scorsese, me? No, different Joker? Aww. So there supposedly are more movies in development with Leto. Plus, there was talk about maybe talk about Suicide Squad, them doing something together, especially with Birds of Prey out. Do you see where Leto is coming from, or given about how the gifts he was sending to his Suicide co-stars? Do you think this is funny?
Well, I don't think this means that Jared Leto Joker's no more, right?
You don't think we're free?
I think, look, a reasonable person might take all this in and say, that was a great one-off Joker movie. We should make great one-off dramatic films for DC. But a Warner Brothers might think, people love Joker stuff. Let's do more Joker stuff. How many Jokers can we get?
That Joker.
Jared Leto Joker. It actually does kind of fit in my headcanon, which is Jared Leto is the son of the Joker. It's like his Instagram model fail son, just like Lex Luthor is like the Eric Trump version of the actual Lex Luthor. So this kind of works. I don't know. I think Warner Brothers is going to give you more Joker than you can handle. So Jared Leto shouldn't be damaged quite yet.
Wow.
I love that. I'm not going to lie.
And I'll tell you, because I picked this up a while ago on a whim, and I just got through reading it. But they did these runs back in the 60s and 70s. It was Batman and Superman Jr. And it was kind of an Elseworld story where Batman and Superman had kids who were also Batman and Superman, and they would go around on wacky adventures. And it was also where I swear the ambiguously gay duo must have come from these comics and not just the 60s TV show, because there's a lot of just like, okay.
Hop on my back, Batman Jr.
Yeah. but like the motivation behind almost every story is like literally Batman Jr. being like, you can't tell me what to do, Dad. And then Superman Jr. being like, I'm tired of, because he's like half as powerful as Superman because he's half human. Because he's half human.
Oh, yeah, true.
And he's just like, I'm tired of being under your shadow, Dad. I'm powerful too. And then they just get angry.
Well, maybe don't call yourself Superman Jr. Maybe find a different name.
They had to sell comics.
That's true.
But I love this idea of
I will become a
Eisenberg
Batman Junior
and Leto as the canonical juniors of their respective.
I think they are. The timelines match up. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's pretty hilarious. It's like
I hate it, but also like, yeah.
But lean into it and just do like a Keystone Cops type bumbling crime caper movie with these two.
Joker Dad, I'm not going to college. I'm not going to Joker school. I'm going to joke on my own.
I
got a grill.
You know, if Joker is like king of comedy, but with, you know, a supervillain, if Logan is Shane, but with a superhero, then make Step Brothers. but with
Joker.
Jared Leto's Joker and Jesse Eisenberg's Lex
Keeps
Luthor.
getting better.
We have to move into. Did we just become best friends?
I'm burying you.
Oh, I want
Feeding
this.
each other Jolly Ranchers, hanging out on speedboats,
Jars of pee.
yeah, jars.
Yes. Don't call it peach tea. So, do you think?
We got to take the Catalina wine mixer hostage.
Yes.
I don't even want to. Now, I don't want any other Jared Leto Joker that's not this.
Yeah.
But do we think that if it would have been better received, his version in Suicide Squad, that this Joaquin Phoenix Joker would have happened?
Maybe not. I don't know. I get where he's angry because it's like, yeah, when you are the Joker, and then they're like, we're making a Joker movie. They're like, great, and it's like, oh, it's like the No Homers Club, but not your Joker. Like, yeah. Oh. Okay. Yeah, because it's an exciting project to be a part of, but
look,
also, but it wasn't taking place in a contemporaneous world. It was it's kind of a darker thing that took place in its own universe. So
It was an old pitch, and Jared Leto, as fun and easy as it is to make fun of him, is a really good actor.
Yes.
Dallas Buyers Club is great. Requiem for a Dream is great. The Blade Runner, his role in Blade Runner is great. Like,
he has his own cult.
He just happens to also be a cult leader, fashion boy, and it's just kind of funny to talk about that too.
Yes.
And Suicide Squad was not doing. I don't think any actor short of Nick Cage could have like really shined in that role in Suicide Squad.
Why didn't we ever get a Nick Cage Joker?
There's still
Because
time.
he's still holding on to Superman.
Yeah.
You know?
No, man. Joker all the way with Nick Cage.
Yeah.
Yeah, Superman's done for you.
He's Joker family's uncle. He's,
Yeah.
He's
Although
Uncle Joker.
you can't. They are though. Like literally, the Harley Quinn movie is like all about like, that guy sucks.
Yeah.
Screw that guy. I don't need him.
Character,
Yeah, it's literally about that. It's like the subtitle is like Birds of Prey, parentheses, Joker
That
sucks.
is-
Yeah.
That is a rough series of conversations,
Yeah.
like where it's like, hey, what's up with this solo movie I'm doing? And they're like, well, it's a Joker movie, but it's not you. They're just saying it's a different universe, so that you're not
okay.
in. Oh, okay. Well, I heard there's like a Birds of Prey thing going on. What's maybe a chance of that? And they're like, oh, well, the whole movie is about how you suck.
I think he'll be in that.
Wait a minute. I think he will too.
He's
Actually.
gonna
Yeah, I
be
think
in
we'll get a
that. I think he's
cameo
gonna
or
be in
something.
Yeah.
Post-credit scene.
Yeah.
I think it's done. I honestly think they're still just kind of going like, hey, man, you and me forever. And they're just slowly going to continue to ghost Damaged
Yeah.
Joker.
Yeah.
But it's also on the heels of Suicide Squad. It's like they're doing a Suicide Squad too. It's like awesome. It's like, but nobody else is coming back except for Margot Robbie and Jai Courtney, and we're gonna leave the door open for Will Smith. But not you.
Yeah. Oh, man. Boomerang comes back.
Go get a drink with Slipknot.
But that is when you go to your own private island and you start
you
wearing
work
your
things
rights.
out.
Yeah, that's how you
With
figure.
the man who can
Did we ever
console
talk about that on that
anything.
show? Just so they know, we're not making
Oh.
this up. It was a thing that happened.
Yeah, there was a thing that happened where he went on an island with a bunch of 30 Seconds to Mars fans, and
They all wore white robes and
looking
stared
like
at him.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And at one
at his
point, he had them sit at his feet.
And he said it was a goof.
Yeah.
All right.
But
At some point, where's the joke stop?
yeah.
and that's the real
That's why
joke.
he's the Joker.
Yeah. So twisted. Yeah. All this stuff might turn him into the Joker. I'm worried.
Yeah.
One
See?
bad day.
Yeah.
One bad deal.
Do Joker stuff.
If Fandom were to hire a second SJU cast to do a different show that's also called SJU, would you be concerned?
I'd be relieved. We all have a lot of work aside from this show. It'd be like a free up an hour a day. You've been gifted it.
Use that time to go do Joker stuff.
I'll do Joker things. Yeah.
So much more time to do activities.
Set 1 hour a day, 2 day a week schedule.
Yeah,
grinding down on
you down. No, it's fine.
I really walked into that one writing it and knowing Spencer was going to be.
That's true.
Yep.
What did you expect, Joe?
I love when you do that to you.
Spencer, do you like Job?
Oh, come on, I love it.
Oh, yeah.
What's not to love? This is the fun part. The rest of it.
I would be sad though if it was like, oh, we're doing Masked Singer on SJU tomorrow. It's like, great. It's like, but not with you or anyone else.
But this one is set in a different Masked Singer continuity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's in a different studio, which
we're
has to be nicer than this one.
We're going to do it down at Skybound. We're going to get all the Skybound kids.
And
Corey's coming in.
and Martin Scorsese is their TriCaster up.
Okay. Wait. I'm gonna cut here. Wait. Sorry, that's more like Scatman.
Yeah.
Although they're kind of close to each other when
Yeah.
you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. So if you were Leto's manager, and then we'll stop with the Leto bashing, how do you calm him down and kind of smooth all of this out?
I think you send him to an island with all of his fans.
I think that's what that was.
Yeah, just to be
he
like,
gets the
go-
news way before we do.
Go get worshipped?
Yeah.
I think you say, look at your life. Look at everything else. You have an Oscar. You have a band.
A cult following.
You have literally like
You got to be Jordan
you got
Catalano.
great
Yeah.
hair. You're ageless.
You're like
Don't worry about it.
You're like
You're fine.
a mannequin for like Gucci. Like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
just throw clothes at you. You just get to dress up and post selfies all the time. Like it's an easy life.
Yeah.
Is
I
he white
imagine.
Andre 3000?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I just brought the room down.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
let's not like
Hey,
equate
yeah.
talent levels. Though, again, he is a very talented,
talented,
actor, but
but-
Andre's a genius. Come on.
Andre is a genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jared Leto's not going to write.
What happened to Class of 3000? That show was great.
Yeah, it's all gone now.
Yeah.
I think it's done.
I don't remember that show.
It was like they gave him a Saturday morning cartoon, and he taught a music
Really?
class that
Yeah.
went on adventures.
Oh my God, that's
And they had
amazing.
He
a
was like
song
Miss
in
Frizzle.
he wrote a song in every episode. It was so good.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Well, if Jared Leto gets too depressed and he wants to pull a Dr. Manhattan, the good news is he's only 30 seconds from
There it is. Boom, boom. Not topping that. This is SJU on Fandom. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. Thank you. So the first new episode of Power Levels is out now on the Screen Junkies channel. As we've been telling y'all, we got an actual physicist to do real science on some very important questions about super fake stuff.
Yep.
So this episode is Batman v Batman v Batman. Watch it, tell your friends, and share it. We really appreciate it. And also, it's just really good. It looks good. It's super funny. There are jokes every time you pause. It's amazing.
I won't guarantee that.
There are tons of jokes.
There are occasionally jokes if you look closely.
Yeah, but that's
There'd be more if you didn't have to do the morning show.
Yeah, it's really good and it looks amazing. And go watch and enjoy because I think that's
Don't
going to be a new
just
favorite.
tell your friends to watch it. Physically sit them down.
Clockwork Orange style.
Yeah, just very, one of those, and make sure, because we want the watch time. So just really make sure it happens.
Do it. Also, this weekend, we're back, baby, is Movie Fights. It will be coming out this Saturday. We've got some really fun fighters, some really fun questions. Looking forward to all of you enjoying it. Links for all of this will be in the description down below. Story number 2, to stream or not to stream, He-Man edition via THR. Like all the major studios, Sony Pictures is questing for new franchises like the He-Man movie Masters of the Universe. But while the picture is on the calendar for release in March 2021, sources tell The Hollywood Reporter that studio chairman Tom Rothman is exploring the prospect of getting risk-free cash for the pricey project by making it for Netflix instead. So the source is saying the talks are preliminary, but that deal would make Sony the next studio after Paramount to start making movies belonging exclusively or almost exclusively to a streamers. And so the dilemma is you seek a studio or a financier to partner on the project, holding on to various rights and territories, or do you make the safe deal with Netflix, which would seem quite not so safe if the film were a huge hit and it was already sold. Studios selling to streamers is a huge trend, of course, but also, man, new He-Man. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the potential of He-Man debuting as a Netflix movie? I just want to see a new He-Man period, no matter where it ends up. But
But would you go out and buy a ticket to see the new He-Man movie?
I would.
Okay.
But I'm that audience.
Yeah.
I would buy it if it was just a straight up remake of the original Masters of the Universe that had nothing to do with He-Man.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's real door. I think that's the risk everyone's going to run now is like, yeah, we've got all these IPs and things that were a big name in like 1986, but I think we're gonna hit this Mortal Engines version of Hollywood where like the big Avengers city is just like consuming the Micronauts movie and then it consumes the Micro Machine movie. Why am I only saying micro franchises? I don't know. So I think they're gonna have to go elsewhere because I think we're seeing that.
Go elsewhere meaning streaming services? Or, okay, yeah.
Because I think we're seeing that like it's a name like is very quickly becoming a diminishing returns.
Yeah. The power of the big franchise, which a couple years ago, everyone's like franchise fatigue, and you are starting to see some of it because as there have just been too many times when it's been whiffed, and you fool me once, blah blah blah. So it's not a guarantee
but
anymore.
the good franchise movies rarely fail.
Right.
They're good.
That's what's so upsetting about this era of Hollywood is it's like the point of having a franchise name or something recognizable is that you are then free to like take creative risks or do something interesting because you already have people who are going to want to see it just based on the name. So then like you already have a group of people setting foot in the door. So then give them something new, do something interesting. But no, instead it's like, oh, we don't want to upset them once they're in here. So let's give them the most boilerplate, like by the numbers blockbuster we can.
Yeah.
And you see it works with Joker or whatever, where it's like people are going to see it because it's got Joker in the name. So then do something different.
Aquaman made $1 billion.
And it was weird.
Franchise, it was super weird and like James Wan-y. It certainly was not. And I had my issues with it certainly. But it was so singularly from that director though. That was one thing that was just sort of like, oh, I've seen this all before. It was like, no, they went big and ambitious and they got paid, made $1 billion. Venom was super weird. And it made $800 million. It found its fan base. Joker just opened to $250 million worldwide. This idea of like franchise, like people are tired of garbage franchise movies, but if a good one comes out, it's rare. Sometimes you'll get a Shazam, for example, that seemed to have been fairly well received, but underperformed. But generally, if it's a great franchise movie, it'll perform well. But you
don't think some of those IPs will start to fall under, because we've already seen like mid-budget movies, stuff like that. People aren't going because it's like, well, I'm going to go see Endgame 4 or whatever the next Avengers is or whatever. So I'm not going to catch that. Do you think they're going to start falling into that pit?
That's kind of true, but it's also kind of not true. Hustlers was a mid-budget movie. It's going to make $100 million. Joker technically was a mid-budget movie, although that was attached to an IP. Good Boys was a mid-budget movie. It made a good amount of money. I think it's more about scheduling those things properly. And yes, there are always going to be good movies that fall through the cracks. But part of it is just being smart, selling a movie smartly. It can be done. If Hustlers had come out in the first weekend of May in the shadow of Avengers, then it probably wouldn't have done $100 million. But they strategically scheduled it. So that's another part of it is the studio. You just have to be smart about when and where you release these movies.
And do you think that having them go to streaming, is that a part of a smart strategy?
Well, speaking of when and where, I think the timeline is interesting because I think there's a certain point in a movie's development when you know that it sucks. Like a Cloverfield paradox, if you will. It's where you're like, this one is bad. Let's get just a check up front from a Netflix instead of running it out to theaters and having it just die out there. We can guarantee that we'll at least make our money back by selling it to Netflix.
The thing that's weird is there's literally been cases along every part of the spectrum that have been successes, so it's hard to point to. It's just like Cloverfield Paradox, I think, was a case where Paramount said, ooh, this movie might not do great. We're going to bail out. And that was probably the right choice. However, they also bailed out on Annihilation, which I think really hurt that movie's chances to find a bigger audience. So I would point to that being a thing. That's where studio lost faith in a project that I think was worthy, but maybe it made them more money. I don't know. To All the Boys I've Loved Before is a movie that if it had come out theatrically probably would not have garnered as much attention as it did on Netflix because of the availability in the audience. So that's a case of making a movie for Netflix where that was a good idea. But the Crazy Rich Asians, they turned down Netflix and said, no, we're putting it out. And that was a great move because they would have left so much money on the table if they'd gone with Netflix. So there's no like way that you could point to and be like, okay, that proves that it's the right way, because there've been a success and failure
on either end,
on every end of this.
Yeah, it's cool though that there are, customers for movies. That not every, because Sony could join everybody else and do Sony Plus or whatever, Paramount Max. Instead, that there are still remaining, like probably 10 or fewer, but there are places where you can make a movie and just be in the business of making movies and then go sell it to the right customer.
I think that's so smart though that they're staying. I don't know, like they're becoming like Studio Ronin, who are just like selling product. Like I think it's so smart that they're not just banking on like Sony Plus or the PlayStation streaming service or something like that, and just like kind of selling to whatever sort of bidder works out best for them.
Yeah, I mean, Sony TV makes some of your favorite television shows, and Breaking Bad and other things that are not springing to mind, but they make a lot of great shows. What's that?
Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul, yeah, and El Camino. No, I don't know, but they make great shows. But there's no Sony TV channel; like they're not a network, so they have a track record of just making great stuff and then finding
a good home for
finding
it.
a home. Yeah.
In this particular case, I do feel like this is Sony trying to back out and have it both ways with Masters of the Universe, because this is a project that's been in development for like ever.
Yeah.
And I think if they had a script or something that they were really super confident in and they're like, this is going to be a hit, they'd just make it. So this to me smells of something like Tom Rothman and the studio are just like, we're not sure about this project, we're not really happy, but we want to leverage this IP and we just want to try to secure our investment because I don't know, like Masters of the Universe, it could potentially be a big, like, you could launch that, you could launch She-Ra, you could launch a lot of different things with that if you do it right. This particular case to me feels like Sony's like, well, we want to leverage the IP, but we don't want to take the financial risk of doing it all out, so we're going to try to, preemptively cut our losses, which maybe that's not the case, it's just how it reads to me, which to me is just like, then don't do it. Then just don't do it.
Sure.
Something like Masters of the Universe, I don't think it works to do like a half measure. Dark Crystal was one where they went to Netflix, but they also obviously invested fully in it. Just you can just tell just from the, number one, the reaction from fans, which is very positive. I know that you're a big fan of it, but also just the look of it. You can tell that they weren't cheaping out on it.
They do say in the making of, because they did originally try to go like, well, maybe some of it'll be puppets and then the rest will be CGI, and they just had a weird phone call where it was like, I think it's got to be all or nothing, and everyone kind of went okay and adjusted a number on a budget sheet and went, okay, let's go, which is pretty cool. I wonder if Sony is. I bet Sony would love to see how this He-Man cartoon does for Kevin Smith. Like, is there momentum that can be built there? Because I know the She-Ra cartoon's popular, but it's not like Avatar: The Last Airbender level. This is the biggest children's cartoon to come out in decades popular. So I'm wondering if, info like that would probably sway one way or the other, whether it's like, okay, let's swing for the fence and because if a cartoon finally telling us what happens after the last time Man-at-Arms told us that cigarettes are bad, like doesn't perform well.
Waiting with bated breath to find out.
Oh
the answer.
man!
I just feel like
now they can get ahead of the. Well, they no longer get ahead, but they can really tackle vaping.
Yeah.
If they had a home run He-Man script sitting on their desk, that they were just like, this is going to be huge, because Jumanji was a dead franchise.
Yeah.
Not even a franchise. It had one movie that people liked, but it was a great combination of actors and script, and it made almost $1 billion, or I think over $1 billion. I think if they had a home run Masters of the Universe script on their desk, they would just say like, we're making this thing because this is great. This is not a good for me. Obviously, He-Man was one of my first things. As far as like the having the toys and watching the show, this to me says we're not really sure about this.
Yeah.
So let's try to.
I think,
Yeah.
and I think in a property like this, like you said, there's so much room for a studio to go like full measure, half measure, quarter measure. You know, like even the first one, they were like, we don't have any money, put them on Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think even for this one, it's like, yeah, they're on Eternity, but we're going to focus on 4 of them. And and then there's like a full measure. I think I just made up a Skeletor ally.
Measure, help me fight He-Man!
Where you go all out, epic scale, Lord of the Rings level battles, and
Yeah, at least hopefully this time they can keep the lights on in the third act, and you can get that nice
As long as Clawful's in it.
That nice 3-day weekend of where everyone bird box. It'll just be everyone tweeting about He-Man, and then we'll never talk about it again.
Like all culture.
Like all culture. Story number 3. It's our Masked Singer recap, season 2, episode 3.
Goodbye to some of you.
Yeah.
Come back! Don't,
see you tomorrow.
You gotta
We're
hear
gonna talk about horror movies
Talk about
next.
horror movies.
Yeah.
All right, another week, another mask. Masked Singer had its 3rd episode yesterday. The Eagle is out, and the Flower is taking the world by storm. Okay, so y'all know I had a flower theory, which is now completely debunked after I done
Busted.
heard her sing.
Yeah.
My original theory
Yeah.
was that the flower was Maya Bialik because they said something about Blossom.
Blossom, yeah.
They mentioned Petals to the Metal, and she famously plays the harp. At the end, she said something about Blow Them All the Way, Bing Bang Theory. I thought I nailed it. And then Patti LaBelle's voice comes out of that flower, and
Is that
I don't
who
know.
it is?
I don't know, but
Oh.
it sounds just like her. She has such a distinctive voice.
Yeah, Flower's good, but it's something about it kept on saying a doctor. There's a doctorate on the wall, no makeup. Something about bear.
A doctorate, that's Maya Bialik, right?
It could still be, and I
Yeah.
know she sings,
There's
but
no way she sounds like that.
She sounds like that. Where have you been hiding that voice?
Yeah.
Why haven't you been making albums in Japan or something? Go Alyssa Milano route. Like, if that's her voice,
Yeah.
come on.
Okay.
If that's Maya Bialik's voice, then that's shocking.
Yeah.
I agree. The Flower was definitely the standout from last night. Although Fox too. I like Fox.
Fox Theories?
So I was watching Masked Singer during commercial breaks of the Dodger game, and while I was also making lentil soup. So I just
It's a very nice chill night.
yeah, it was a very
That's so
nice
cozy.
cozy Wednesday. What day is it? Tuesday?
I don't know
I have no
anymore.
idea.
It's a day.
But it was a nice night, and really, I just want to talk about confirming something that Dan said. We kind of disagreed on the potential star power of this season, and the fact that it's Dr. Drew,
Yeah.
spoiler, at the end, means
For
that,
Eagle.
like, this isn't going to be good. I'm sorry. Like, if they're people so unfamous that I couldn't guess them unmasked, then the fun of me trying to figure out who they are is kind of gone because I know I don't know who these people are. I just know that I'm not going to get it.
I do love when you know that there's a producer in Nick Cannon's ear going like, really sell it, it's Dr. Drew.
Yeah.
Really? Guys, it's Dr. Drew!
They had me though stone cold fooled because I was convinced I knew who it was because I knew it was something to do with broadcasting.
Right.
He said something about a parent who'd passed away. And then I knew that voice, and I was convinced that it was even less, probably for most people, even less spectacular than Dr. Drew. I was convinced that it was Joe Buck, who does all the sports commentating for Fox. He had his dad who passed away, was Jack Buck, who was like a big. So I was convinced when that mask came off, is like. It makes sense. Joe Buck works for Fox. That the voice
He's
was
a
that
get.
very deep. I was like, it's Joe Buck, and then it was Dr. Drew. So I was actually surprised, but only because I was
You went lower.
fully convinced that it was somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Fox for me, just by the voice alone, I'm heading Wayne Brady.
Okay.
But
That's
there's
my
such
guess.
a comic book like feel, like working at night
Yeah.
in different genres and like the whole like.
Yeah, he had like the Doogie thing.
Yeah, I
but,
worked with Doogie. Was it Doogie and Robin Williams?
Oh, on Whose
Yeah.
Line?
Was
Maybe.
Robin Williams on Whose Line?
Yeah,
Was
he
Neil
guessed
Patrick
it.
Harris on Whose Line?
They guessed it on Whose Line.
Yeah, they've had like a bunch of guests and
then
stuff.
maybe it is Wayne
It might
Brady.
be, and he's also like he's hosted game shows. He does
Yeah.
Whose Line. He is an
Oh,
actual
that's
actor.
true.
No
All
one
right.
pays him to do that part,
Yeah.
but he does do it. And then he sings.
Didn't we think
yeah.
everyone was Wayne Brady?
We thought,
last week?
last season
We
we were
do.
trying to like wish Wayne Brady into existence.
And then we did it.
Yeah,
We
it's
conjured
like-
it.
We did.
I
Ritual's
just want to
complete.
say, I'm back where I want to be on Masked Singer recaps, not knowing what anyone is talking about. That is, I love it. This is why I liked it last time when everyone was talking about it, and then I stopped having fun the moment I started watching, because I just like sitting back and watching you guys being like, but who is the flower? Like,
I will say that Penguin is skating by on pure charisma.
See, this is what I sign up
is
for.
Clearly a comedian, because Penguin you couldn't even get that kick, girl.
Yeah,
Penguin tried to kick Dr. Drupinski as part of the act. It was great.
Tough to kick.
But Penguin's whole bit is just like, everyone's always told me I'm not good enough, and now I'm gonna be. But it's like, but you're not great.
But you're not good.
But you're getting by on charisma.
Yeah, very charming, that Penguin.
I've also found another. I don't know if I mentioned it last week, but in the line of Robin Thicke thinking that everyone's a model, I've also noticed that Nicole Scherzinger, at least once per episode, when they start singing, goes, I know that voice. I know that voice. I know who that is.
And thank God they cut to that, because it adds.
It adds so much to it for her to say that every week.
Why do there need to be 4 of it? You know what? It's fine.
Doesn't
It's
matter.
fine.
Judges, but yeah,
It's fine.
we say this
I
every
hope,
week.
though, what I'm hoping, because we saw in the season preview that they're going to eventually get to, like, and I think they're bringing back both Joel McHale
Good.
And Kenan Thompson as guest judges.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the best episodes, because you have, Ken Jeong a little bit is aware of it, but you have Robin Thicke, Ginny McCarthy, and Nicole Scherzinger, who are just in their own universe. And then, like, it's like they grab somebody off the street, because anytime they bring in a guest judge, they're all just like, what the hell's going on here? Does nobody else understand how crazy this is?
Yeah, the whole show is like an SNL sketch that goes on too long.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, no, I last week I expressed very grave concerns about the quality of Celebrity.
Yeah.
And again, we are now on episode 4, and I love Dr. Drew, but if he is the big reveal in episode 4, I can only hope that they're weeding out the non-notable people, so that big, good voices are the big stars of the season. We'll
Right.
see.
What if
want
Maya
him to
Bialik
just-
winds up being the big one?
That'd be awesome. I mean, A Star is Born.
If that's Maya Bialik, it's just
I can't.
insane. She's like a different person when she sings.
It's the 2 guys sitting in the back of the car eating Sonic breakfast in the Sonic commercial! So no!
Oh,
Yeah.
UCB. So you bring us so many good things. Any last thoughts on Masked Singer?
We get our first rematch. We've met everyone now.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've met everyone now, so we've got
All the pieces are on the board.
Yeah,
It's time.
butterfly, thingamajig, skeleton, ladybug,
We're gonna start
Rottweiler,
getting-
tree, black widow, leopard, flamingo,
Yeah.
flower, penguin, and fox are all
Yeah.
still in play.
We're going to get a lot more clue packages.
Yes.
They'll probably tip their hand, and the internet will solve the whole thing. And
Yeah.
I try not to look at the internet, because I want to get it myself, even if I'm super dumb, and I won't.
Yeah.
I don't look at the internet either, because people are too good and it's spoiled. So yeah, I don't look at any internet speculation. I will say though, now to speculate on the internet for myself, if the matchups remain the same and we go back to Group A, then I believe that next week we'll see the exit of Skeleton.
which will be
whom I strongly
Schaefer.
believe is Paul Schaefer.
That's a great theory.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So we'll see. I don't know.
All right, fingers crossed. Paul Schaefer. That's gonna bring the kids in. He's great, but that's not for
Show
the
us your
children.
face.
Oh, P.S. I love you. Story number 4. We're checking in on Dan's Halloween playlist. Why do I keep saying Hollywood? We're checking in every year. Dan does, what is it, a movie?
This is Mara's idea, because I'm such a horror movie wimp and I had not seen many.
Same.
And Halloween is her favorite time of year, so this is, I think, our 4th or 5th time doing it. We do like 31 days, and she's just like, this is a horror movie you've never seen. You should watch it. And now we plan it together, and it's a lot of fun. So we watch 31 day horror movies leading up to
Wow.
Halloween every year. Yeah. So this
Very
year
nice.
is fun.
What you been watching?
So we're a couple days behind because we had to travel because of New York Comic Con. So even though it's the 10th, we've only watched 7 so far, but I think they've been good. I like what we've done. We started off with Nosferatu, the original 1922 one from F.W. Murnau,
never seen it.
I mean, it is super creepy. That's not the one that we watched. That is the Klaus Kinski one from the 70s. But it is the same character. But yeah, Max Schreck, who is not the character from Batman Returns.
Damn it.
Damn it! Plays. It's basically like it was credited as like
Bruce
an
Wayne,
unlicensed.
why are you dressed like Nosferatu?
I'm a vampire. I like to drink blood. I never drink wine.
I like fake laughing with you guys so much.
We're so good at fake laughing, you guys.
It's like an unauthorized telling of Dracula, I think was how it was kind of credited. But yeah, it's super creepy. It's a silent movie. The thing you have to navigate is was made in 1922, so there's no copyright. So there's like a million crappy versions of it out there. Like the first one we tried to watch had the worst score, like the most overbearing organ score you ever heard, like the free one that's on Amazon Prime. Don't recommend that one. Try to find one that's like some kind of like an official restoration or something, because that was much better. But yeah, super creepy, silent movie, but one of the key silent movies ever made. So obviously big recommendation. Then the second we watched was Crimson Peak, which I've never seen any of these. This is a Guillermo del Toro movie that came out a few years ago that didn't do well, and like I was kind of surprised by. I hadn't heard good things about it, and I also really liked this one. I think it was just missold as like Guillermo del Toro's horror movie. It's like it is kind of, but it's more just like gothic. I liked it a lot.
It was definitely sold as like, you're gonna get the crap scared out of you. It was sold like Mother, where it was like a terrifying vision, and it was like, no, it's like a well-paced gothic romance. Like,
Ooh.
Yeah, I liked it. It's very gothic, and just the production. Oh my God, the production design and
a
everything.
really beautiful movie.
It's a gorgeous movie. So if you haven't seen that, that's a recommendation. The third one was actually Joe's wife Torlin got us to bump this up the schedule because she was hanging out with us, and we were going to watch Ginger Snaps, which is on the list for later this month.
Also hard recommend.
But she found out that Jennifer's Body was also on the list, so we watched Jennifer's Body, which I always heard was underrated but never
it's
seen.
so good.
I really liked it, and I take everything bad I say about Megan Fox. It makes Megan Fox look much, much better, and it makes Michael Bay look much worse, because she's actually really good in this movie.
Yeah.
So her being so terrible in the Transformers movies, I think, is much more a direction issue. I liked that. Again, shocked
really
that
fun.
it was so poorly received. I thought it would have been like one of those things that audiences overlook, but critics loved it. But like, it didn't even get good reviews, which really surprises me. I think there's a lot. It's a lot of satire and stuff. Yeah,
I think that was during that period where it was fun to like piss on Megan Fox and Diablo Cody. So when you put them together,
I don't know.
There's a lot of that person in it too. Chris Pratt's got like a line.
Yeah,
in it.
Chris Pratt's in it for like 2 seconds, and then I keep waiting for him to come back. I'm like, oh wait, no, this was 2009.
Yeah.
Nobody, he was an actor, but yeah. Anyway, so Jennifer's Body, that's a recommendation. This next one was so dumb, but I actually really liked it. It's from the 1997, I think. It's called Wishmaster.
yes,
It was one of those Wes Craven, as you can see, Wes Craven Presents, and I was like, we put it on the list because we'd heard like, oh, it's good, cheesy fun, but it's like, first of all, it's directed by this guy Robert Kurtzman, who is still a makeup artist, works with Greg Nicotero, but he directed this movie and also did with Greg Nicotero and a lot of other artists the makeup. The practical makeup in this movie is amazing. It's so good. It's about this it's basically like evil genie. They're called jinns.
Sure.
And if you make 3 wishes, then they take over the world. They're unleashed if you wished for 3 things. So it's the guy who played McHale on Lost, the guy with the eye patch who was in the bunker, and he's the jinn. And he's like, a lot of times he's in makeup, but sometimes it's just him. And it's just like, it's like a Twilight Zone Needful Things thing where it's like a guy is just like, he needs to get into this place, and he basically tricks you into making a wish that will then curse you. So it's like trying to get into a place, and a security guard's just like he's like, I really need to get in there, and the security guard's, yeah, well, I'd like to see you try, and he's just like, he literally sometimes looks at the camera and just goes, as you wish.
It's amazing. You guys.
It's so cheesy, but I liked it so much. And the security guard is Kane Hodder, who did Jason for so many times, and Robert Englund is in it, and it is cheesy bad, but it's also like really super impressive, and I liked it. So that's and then the next one was Bram Stoker's Dracula, which I've never seen.
That's the one with Keanu in it, right?
Yeah, that's
Take me away from all of this death.
Oh boy, is Keanu in it. It's just like, I heard that something was going on down here. Tell me, what's going on, my love? Like, it's endearingly bad. He's not good in it, but it's weird. I mean, again, the craft behind Francis Ford Coppola directed it. Like, the craft behind it is like super good, and it won like 3 Oscars.
Yeah.
But
At no point do you want to turn it off.
No,
It's really
It's just a super weird movie.
Yeah.
It just kind of flits around and never really,
The lore behind it is that they had a very streamlined version of it, and then the actors and everybody involved they were like, we highly encourage you to read the book and see what you think and blah, blah, blah. And then people would be like, oh, this looks like a really fun scene for my character to do. Let's do that scene.
You can tell Gary Oldman was like, I want to be a wolf. We have to make Gary Oldman a wolf now.
All right, fine.
It's got a lot of cool stuff in it, but overall it's like, wow, this movie's kind of odd. So I'm glad I watched it, and yes, Keanu Reeves is in it. He's bad, but it's a very endearing thing. And then two more. The next is Arachnophobia, which I'd also never seen.
Oh, wow.
I've never seen. No, which was
That
directed.
was huge.
Yeah,
huge when
directed
that
by
came out.
Frank Marshall, who is along with Kathleen Kennedy. Sorry, trigger warning. Not for me, but
She
for me.
ruined spiders!
But along with Kathleen Kennedy, like produced so much of Spielberg's work. He directed this movie, and I thought it was with Jeff Daniels as this guy that moves to the country, and there's these Venezuelan murder spiders that show up. If you get bitten, you die immediately, and it's like a fun thing.
Yeah.
John Goodman's in it, doing Bill Murray from Caddyshack. Shamelessly doing Bill Murray from Caddyshack.
Yep. One of the all-time best ending credit songs is Jimmy Buffett doing a real chill song about spiders.
Yeah.
It's real good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally just it's Kingdom of the Spiders with William Shatner, but in the '90s and with Jeff Daniels, and I liked it. It's again cheesy but fun, entertaining. It's like small town, just like he's a new doctor and people keep dying. And like, I don't think it's any coincidence that this doctor showed up and people are dying. You know, it's I don't know.
Must be made of spiders.
Must be made of spiders. I enjoyed that, and then last night we watched The Guest. With
that's good.
Dan Stevens.
Yeah.
Directed by Adam Wingard, who also did You're Next. And then
That's fun.
I feel bad that he did the Blair Witch remake, and I watched this movie and I'd seen You're Next as well, and I'm just like, why would you put him on that movie? Like, have him do like good stuff. Dan Stevens is really good in this.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say like, oh, well, that's not a scary movie. It's like, well, it's a thriller, and it literally takes place on Halloween. So it definitely counts. But yeah, the one thing I'd heard about The Guest more than anything was that Dan Stevens is really great. Dan Stevens is really great.
I still have a hard time getting over the fact that that's Cousin Matthew.
Right?
Like, just...
And the Beast.
Yeah. Like, I remember when when he died on Downton, and it was like, oh well, he wanted to do other stuff. It was like, you fool! What will you possibly do to surpass Downton Abbey? And it's like, like everything he does, because he's really, really, really good.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's like he plays this guy who shows up at this family's house and is basically like, hey, I was in the military with your son and we were friends, and they're like, oh yeah, no, you don't have anywhere to go, stay with us. But there's way more to it than that, and he's got a lot of levels, which are fun to discover as the movie goes on. So also I watched the whole movie and did not realize that the little brother was Brendan Meyer, who I know from the Schmodown and have interacted with on many occasions. Like I was watching the movie and I was like, that kid looks familiar, but it was like 5 years ago and he's a young guy. It's when 5 years can make a big difference. And then I saw the credits, I was like, oh, well that explains why he
didn't know
looked
that.
familiar. Yeah,
I've trivia'd with him.
he's good in the movie. Good in the movie, and good in
nice.
real life. Nice dude.
He is.
Like
He's a
that guy.
sweet, sweetheart.
He really is.
I always worry that those boys are going to make him feel bad.
I feel like sometimes I see people roughing him up, and I'm like, stop it. I get like protective. I'm like, don't do that to him. That's not nice.
He's too good for this
Pure.
world.
He's too
He
pure.
can handle Dan Stevens. He can handle
That's true.
Schmodown.
That's true.
That is true.
That's very, very true.
All right. Are you guys doing any special Halloween movie watches?
No, I generally take the end of the year to catch up on the best horror movies of the year. So I'm really excited to. Top of my list is Midsommar.
Yes.
Haven't seen that yet, so that's the one I'm looking forward to the most.
We gave
Dan's making a face.
We've always lived in the castle a watch because Shirley Jackson wrote the book. She also wrote Haunting of Hill House, and we really liked Haunting of Hill House. I'd skip it. Not great. But we did watch the first episode of Marianne on Netflix, which is a French horror show, and I couldn't sleep. So it had a lot of good spookums in it, and if you want to get French spookumed, which is a weird fetish that I just made up, I absolutely recommend it. It was really good.
Nice. I'm doing because I am also just a horror movie wuss. It is like not super my thing unless it's also really funny or very, very campy or very bad. So I am doing my annual Best of Buffy rewatch where I watch all of my favorite Buffy episodes.
There you go.
I will say, as a wuss still, who avoided many films. There's some really good movies out there that I'm very glad that Mara looped me into, because I've seen a lot of really, really solid movies that, yes, I'm scared watching it, but it's worth it.
Stoked for you to get into
Does
Ginger
it
Snaps.
still work if I'm looking at it like this?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as
Well, I mean,
you're
that's the
doing
point.
this.
I mean, business has his literally has a scaredy blanket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have my scaredy fingers.
Yeah, that's
Scaredy
fine.
fingers.
Just permanent bat Watusi.
Yeah, just,
Yeah.
Can't see me. You can't hurt me. You're not real. I have fingers. All right. Is there anything else? Oh, obviously the Honest trailer has gone up. You've already seen that probably. Honest trailer commentary went up.
Tony
you should go
Revolori.
check that out. It's got
Hey.
Tony Revolori on it. It is really, really funny. And he is just a pleasant man and a good sport. And we will see you back here tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. And you guys have a great day. Bye.